everyone, and welcome back to another No Man's Sky building tutorial. Now, thanks to several requests by you, today I will show you the technique I like to use for building domes and sphere. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep in the loop of the irregular content I am posting. To build a dome or a sphere, we of course need to start with a foundation, which will be a circle as you can see right here. Now, if you do not know how to make a circle, I can link for you the latest technique I have been using on top of the screen. To produce a similar 24-sided circle like this, it is best to follow that tutorial. It is of course possible to build different sized domes and spheres, but for that you need to use different techniques and arches, and we'll touch on that along this tutorial. When checking out the current circle, you can see we have some gaps between the tiles. Now, one reason being is I did not do a precise enough job in making the circle, but even if I would have done it perfectly, there would still be small gaps in between. This means that if we would build our dome on the outside of this circle, it will result in gaps in the dome wall. That is why we need to reduce the radius a little. So let us start with placing and snapping pavings on the outside of the circle. We are doing this first step because we are planning on building a sphere. If we would simply build a dome, we would not need to raise our platform a bit. We are doing this specifically because we want to keep the circle floor on the level of the sphere's equator. Once we are done placing the pavings on the circle, we can position another paving on top and adjust the glitch to a cylinder. Again, if we would build the dome, we would not need to do this first layer of pavings, we could simply adjacency straight from the floors. Now, as you can see, I will be doing a lot of speeding up of the video or simply skip ahead over the series of building, just to keep this tutorial as short and sweet as possible. Now, once all the cylinders are glitched upon the pavings, we can now delete the pavings. Then we can replace those with cubes underneath the cylinder. And you can see how perfectly centered these cubes are, placed on the level of the floor. Now, once this is done, we can remove the cylinders. Now, as I already said, we need to reduce the size of our circle a bit, and because of that, the circle floor is in the way. If you really want to keep that floor, you could double frontage your floor inside. Or you just work from the center again and rebuild the circle. That's why I always recommend keeping your scaffolding and foundation as long as possible. In this example, we simply will delete the floor and build it back at a later stage. Once the floor is deleted, we place another cube on the inside of the cubed circle. After that, we snap a pyramid against the cube and make sure the bottom of the pyramid is directed outside the circle. Alright, now that we have placed all our pyramids, we are ready to prepare the dome or the sphere. Now, for this 24-sided circle, we will be using the Ologolos curve, or the Olo curve to make it easier to pronounce. If you are looking for a very detailed explanation on how this and other curves can be built, I would highly recommend checking out a tutorial made by the lovely Nirvana, and I will link it in the description below. As you can see, in the meantime, I already begun snapping pyramids here. For the Olo curve, we need every time sets of 5 pyramids snap together like a pie. The first one here, we start of course with 2 pyramids snapped on top and 2 on the bottom, as this is the equator of our sphere. Now we will snap another pyramid on top of this one here. It has to be placed like this, and let's do the same on the bottom. Once that is done, we snap another 4 pyramids against it. Now as you can see, if I color these black, that the pyramids start to angle into a curve. So let us keep on building this curve until we are at the top of the dome. Now that one should be the last one, and let us color these in black so it will be easier for us to recognize the platforms we will glitch upon. Now the same curve we did here we will also have to do on the bottom, at least if we decide on making a sphere. If we do a dome, there is no need for that. Well, now I will have to do this on every side. This is gonna take some time. So I will see you again once I'm done with that. About a half an hour later, I finished the preparations for the first half of the dome. Now before we go further, there are a few things I would like to address. For example, if you have a look at the top of this dome, I have not made all arches to reach the top. Actually, there are only 4 of the arches that reach the top. In between those 4, there are only 2 of the remaining arches that almost reach the top, and then the remaining ones reached just past half of the dome. So we have 1 main arch, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shorter arches, and then the main arch again. The 5 arches in between are alternating between a short and a slightly longer one. Another little issue we have on top of the dome is that we can't seem to be placing all pyramids in it. As you can see, this one is green stated, the other one can't be placed. This mainly has to do with the fact I did not have a perfect circle to begin with. So again, it is best to make a big effort in getting your circle perfect before you begin doing all the tedious work that follows. Still, when this happens to you, we can fix this fairly easy. We only need to place some pipes on top of the pyramids. Then we remove the pyramids. Now place the remaining pyramid that was not possible to snap before and snap a pipe on top of it. Now we can delete all of the pyramids that are in the way and we can connect pipes at the bottom of the 4 pipes. Once we have deleted the 4 pipes on top, these will now serve as platforms to glitch our floors upon. Also, I have colored all platforms we will glitch on in black. There's 2 reasons for that. Firstly, for better identification of the location where we will glitch on. And also, once the sun comes up, you will see that black makes it easier to see our cursor, while the white surface becomes too bright for this. Okay, next step. There are a few techniques we can use to glitch our floors on top of the framework, and all depending on the materials or the planned end result, you can choose to go for either or all techniques. Now let us go quickly over them and in the meantime explore the pros and cons of each and one of them. The first one, most commonly known as the wire glitch. The theory of wire glitching is quite simple. The execution of it is more challenging. To wire glitch a floor panel, we have to start in a green state. Especially when you plan on using glass floor panels for a dome, the wire glitch will serve you nicely. So bring out a glass floor, have it green stated, and now press L2 to open up the shortcut menu and have the wire selected. On PC I believe the button for this menu is Control. Now while keeping the L2 trigger pulled and the wire selected, move the cursor over to one of the black colored pyramids. Now as you can see, the pyramid is actually very dark and also the green wire cursor is massive. So while we are keeping the shortcut menu activated, we use the D-pad to move to the report base option. That way the pyramid gets highlighted and also the cursor is more visible. Now we can just simply aim our cursor at the center of the pyramid. And once we are happy with its location, we use the D-pad once again to select our wire. Now the only thing remaining is to do the wire glitch, which is release the L2 and press the R2. That should have placed the floor panel nicely against the pyramid. In case you are not aware of how wire glitching or any other glitches explained work, check out the video I will link on the top of the screen right now. This is the technique I will be using to do the whole dome today. But before I do that, I would like to go quickly over the other technique for this, the blender glitch. And for that I will prepare a few pyramids, so you can see the difference between them. So let us prepare one with a wire. The wire you will be using is not in the shortcut menu, but the one that can be found inside the power and electricity section. We place the wire here outside of the center, on the surface of this pyramid. And now I move the other end towards the center. Now as you can see, the wire is blocking the view of the cursor. To take away the wire, we simply move one step down in our build menu. That way the building engine still remembers you holding the wire, but you see your cursor now much better. Once we place the cursor in the center, we go back up in the menu and the wire should reappear. Now we only need to place it. And the other end of the wire we pull up in a straight line and have it follow the markings on the surface of the pyramid. The second connector we can place is with the use of a pillite. Now the difference here is that the snap point of a pillite is not directly connected to the pillite, but a little away from it. If I would place the pillite here, with the connector on the center, you will see that the snap point of the wire is not centered. So let us drop down the pillite a bit, just enough to have the top line of the pillite's framework in the line with the small square marking of the pyramid. So nicely centered and in line with this line. That should be the perfect location. As soon as I snap a wire on that connector, you can see the green disc is perfectly in line with the center of the pyramid. Okay, now we have prepared a wire and a pillite. Let's do one more, and that is by using the inverter switch. Now, similar as with the pillite, we need to drop the switch lower than the center so the connection is nicely centered. So we rotate the switch, so the modifier is placed on the side. And now we center the switch and then place the switch so that the connector, the modifier, the connection to the right here is right underneath the small marked cube. And once again, the green disc will be nicely in line with the center. Now we will blender glitch on these three connectors. Now before we can do a blender glitch, of course, we need to prepare some connectors. Let us place a light box here and here. Now we can start with our glass floor panel, and don't worry if it's green or red stated. We simply need to select the floor, pull the L2 trigger to open the shortcut menu, and again we select the wire. Now while we keep the L2 pulled, we connect the wire to the light box here and then bring the other end of the wire to our first connection point right here. And now we release the L2 and pull the R2 to glitch the floor. And let us do the same for the remaining two connectors. Okay, so now we have glitched 3 floors on those connectors, so let us have a look at the issues we have with them. In the first case, we see the wire is totally merged inside the floor, so we cannot delete it. And because it is glass, we can see the wire. Now, if we would have been using a solid floor, this would not be an issue. So the only way to get rid of the wire is by hiding it. That we can do by glitching something on top of it. For example, a light floor. And similar to how we glitch the glass floors, we glitch the light floor inside the floor. Now that hides the wire for sure. Remember that the wires can also be hidden with the use of the wire cloaking device, so that could solve that problem for you as well. Now the pillite here, also visible in the glass, seems to be sticking out a little, so we can just select it and delete it. And the same goes for the switch. We simply select it and remove the switch. If the pillite and switches are not able to be deleted, I will show you a different way to remove them, thank you, Action Pants Gaming. The advantage of using the wire as connector point is that it serves as the perfect safeguard against accidentally deleted items. If I would, for example, delete my framework and then accidentally delete my floor, it is very easily to glitch it back on the same position using the wire. Alright, now I will take some time to close off the complete dome and I will use the wire glitch for this. And once I'm done, I will be back with you. Okay, back again and almost there. Before I close up the dome completely, I just wanted to show you a few of the challenges you might come across and how we can deal with them. So first, as you can see, once I place a floor panel on one of these pyramids, the other pyramid might be a bit difficult to reach. But normally, by using the report base cursor, you can easily find the center, and it will also show you which building part you are aiming at. And just, again, wire glitch it nicely on its center. Now let's finish these two here, and then we can close off the dome completely at the top. Okay, you probably already see it as well, but if we will be glitching a floor on top of this pipe, it will cover at least the two pipes left and the right of it, if it doesn't cover up all of them. So we should use a different technique here, and let us prepare some switches on the pipes. We will be using the inverter switch again, but now we place the switch in such a way that the left and right connector just touch the outside curve of the pipe, while of course centered. And let's us do this on all four pipes. And as the Blender glitch demands, we place a connector here so we can begin our glitch from that point. Now we will just Blender glitch a floor on all of the switches. And you can delete your switches on the first two floor panels. The other two we will be using a different trick. In the meantime, I realized I was trying to start off with a green stayed floor, while we of course do not need that for a Blender glitch. Okay, the dome is completely closed off now, so we need to get rid of those two pesky switches. Now thanks to Action Pants, we learned that we can delete them by blending them with another building part. So let us glitch two light floors on top of these switches. And now we should be able to delete the light floors from the bottom, and they should take the switches with them. To delete the floors, we need to be able to select the power connector of it, so let us drop down these pipes, as we do not want to remove them yet, and then remove the pipes against the dome. That way we should be able to reach the connectors and delete the floor lights. And there we go, the switches have been removed. While I was closing the dome, I actually went ahead and closed off the complete sphere and also deleted most of the framework that was used to make the arches. As you can see, I also built a 4-sided airlock on the dome, and if you're interested in how to build one of those, you can also check out another tutorial I made which explains how to build those. Now note that the floor of this airlock is slightly higher than the merged floors we used to make a circle. So to have these two fit together, we will have to do some adjustments. To fix the difference, we just will place a wall here and connect the floor. And let us prepare the other side as well. Now on both of these floors we will adjacency from a paving to a cylinder. Once that is done, we can now adjacency from a cylinder to a paving. Now place another paving on top. Then we connect the floor to that paving and we can delete all pavings and cylinders afterwards. Now we place 2 short walls on the bottom of those floors. After that, we place floors on the bottom of the short wall. And again, we deleted the top floors and the short walls. And we can also delete the center floor here, as they are not necessary any longer. Next, we will connect 2 full walls underneath the floors and attach 2 short walls here. After that, the only thing remaining is frontage glitching our merged floors. And now you can see, if I extend my floor again, the level is now at the correct height. Once again, we can build our circle from the center point as I've been doing in my tutorial. Okay, now we can go and focus on the ender sphere. This can be done by extending the pyramids by 4 pipes towards the center of the sphere. As this again is quite a long and tedious task, I will show you a few and then skip ahead to the next scene. Okay, after some time I finally finished with the pipes and you can see nicely the shape of the sphere. Now we have to delete all the parts we do not need any longer. So let us delete the pyramid and the 3 pipes, so only 1 pipe is remaining. And I will see you again in a bit once the job is done. Okay, here we go, a perfectly shaped framework to work from. Keep in mind that depending on the parts you want to use, you will need to adjust the size of the sphere. But that will be up to you. Good luck. Now, before we end this tutorial, just one more thing. If you are planning on making a bigger sphere or a dome than this, you will need to use a different curve. So let me quickly show you the factor curve. Similar to the Olo curve, we begin with adjacency from a paving to a cylinder. We exchange a cylinder for a cube. On that cube, we place a pyramid. Now the difference between the Olo curve and the factor curve is that we are going to be using a cube as the adjuster and also will be using fewer pyramids. So simply place 1 pyramid here, then snap a cube on its side and continue with pyramids like so. After the 3rd pyramid, we snap a cube again and so on. Now, once this curve is done, we can delete the cubes and let me color the pyramids again where you could be glitching on. You can see that this curve has a wider radius and will give you a bigger sphere or dome. Alright, now we have reached the end of our tutorial. If you want to learn more, or you have any more questions, I have a whole series of videos on my channel that might help you out. We also have a Discord where like-minded builders come together to share their ideas, techniques and questions, and it would be great to welcome you there. Just check the description in this video below. If you liked this video, then hit that like. Also, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe, so you are kept in the loop of the content I'm posting. Thank you for watching and see you next time.